Welcome to episode 23 of How About Them Huskies. I'm Connor. I'm joined with Matt and Matt. Andrew can't be here today. He's off doing some better things. So hope you have fun. You're down in Florida. So we miss you, but we got to continue. UConn had a big win versus DePaul, so we're going to recap it for you. UConn won 90-76. It was overall great team effort, 90 points. Jordan Hawkins and Adama Snuggle were the stars. Tristan Newton added 20. Really just a great team win. There was some interesting rotational changes we'll get to in a little bit, but I want to hear from you guys first. What are your thoughts on this one?
Um, I just want to say, another game, and I'm just proud of these guys again. I really feel like they're starting to take strides again. Things are starting to pick back up. When I look back on it, whenever we were in the midst of that losing streak a couple weeks ago, I was being really nitpicky about them, but I still think this is a team that they're built for March, the way they played in preseason tournaments and the way their offense plays. And I feel like their defense hasn't even been near locked in. Giving up 76 to DePaul, that's not great. And I feel like the defense could improve a lot. So I really liked what I saw besides the defense. And I think, like I said, this team's just starting to keep taking strides and keep leveling up. And I think things are starting to look a lot better around here.
No, I really liked it. It seemed like this was a game, maybe a few weeks ago, would have looked a lot different. We went up big 10 and a half, and then, they went on like a 15-0 run. I'm pretty sure it was something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but the team, they stayed with it. They didn't crumble. They didn't allow them to really get back. I think the closest it was 9 at one point, but I mean, this is a game that I feel like a few weeks ago, we're looking at a game that could get to 5, maybe 3. And I really liked the rotations that Hurley was running. He actually went with it this time. I remember last time I was complaining about how, he said we were going to see a lot of changes and we really didn't. I'm glad that he stuck to his word this time. Limited Calcaterra, limited Diarra, limited Sampson, all with 5 minutes or less. Sampson's coming back. I wasn't sure what's happening with Diarra. I think he just wanted to ride the hot hand of Newton, who had another great game, 21 points. And the lack of Joey didn't really seem to affect us. If anything, I felt like in a way it could have possibly helped us because Joey's confidence has been really down. I mean, maybe he's just working things out in practice because we all know he has, that spark in him. So maybe he's just working it out in practice, getting all the kinks out. Maybe we'll see more of him later on, but for now, I feel like this rotation was perfect.
And while we're on the topic of rotations, one thing I just want to point out is we saw a little bit more of that double big set, and we got to see Adama Sanogo in the high post. And I'm liking his decision making. I feel like it's just getting better and better through the course of this season. We were just talking about it before we went live. He put his head down a lot to start the season. Now he's actually looking to make a play and skip the ball around a little bit, which is really key to this offense. This offense thrives on ball movements and running off screens and whatnot. So if Sanogo could play out of the high post on the two big set, or if he could pass out of a double team, that would really make things more effective going on here.
Yeah, and him and Jackson seem to have switched roles a bit. I remember we were talking about that too. Jackson being way more aggressive going for points. I remember last game it didn't work out too well. Started off like 1 of 7 or something, but yeah, and Sanogo always looking to make a play. That's what we need, and that is going to help us so much because with that sort of dynamic to him looking to pass and him being able to score that easily, it opens up shooters, it opens up the paint, it opens everything up. So I'm looking to see more of that.
Yeah, and just one more thing here about that. If you're getting doubled, your points will come. You're getting doubled for a reason. It's because you're a good scorer. So you should be looking to pass out of a double, and I think he's really starting to figure that out.
Yeah, in the second half there were extended minutes where Sonogo and Klingon played together. And there's one play in particular that comes to mind. Sonogo had it around the free throw line. Klingon was calling for it. And then Sonogo just said, "Get out of my way," and took it to the floor and laid it in, pretty much dropped the DePaul player. I don't remember who it was for DePaul. That's just something that sticks out to me. Sonogo, he's playing the 4 a little bit more, and he's acting like a 4. He's putting it on the floor, driving to the hoop.
Yeah, I know I said one more thing about that double big set, but actually one more thing this time. When you have two bigs in there, it's really hard for the help defense to come over without leaving the rim exposed. So, yeah, I was liking that.
Does anybody have the plus minus numbers on the game? Because I want to see Klingons. I felt like he was a big impact out there. He had two personal fouls, which is fantastic because I feel like every game right now we're looking at four fouls, foul out. It's always bad, but when him and Sonogo are in there at the same time and they're both effective, I mean, who's stopping us, right?
Now, I don't have the plus minus on me, but I do have the stat. We had the big lead, like you mentioned, Matt, and it was actually cut to 63-57. And at that point, Tristan Newton hit his 4-point play to put it back to 10, and it was double digits pretty much the rest of the way. He's been massive for this team over the past few games. He had that dud against St. John's. He didn't score in less than 20 minutes. But since then, he's been in double figures every game and back-to-back 20-plus point performances. This is the Tristan Newton we thought we were getting when we got him from ECU.
And I can most definitely say right now he's taking the next step. Like you were saying, since that St. John's game, 16 and a half a game. And it only has been 4 games, but he's really, really elevated his play since then. He's been a lot more confident. And he's been a lot more aggressive, which is what we need from him because at his peak, we could get a lot of points from him.
And I feel like this is definitely something that, he just didn't develop on his own. I feel like there's definitely something going on the inside, whether it's Hurley or Kamani or, somebody else even, trying to help motivate him because as a player who averaged 17 points last year at Eastern Carolina, coming in and putting up dud after dud, under 5-point performances, that definitely takes a toll on your performance when you're trying to, prove yourself that you could compete at this high level. So I guarantee you there's someone on the inside, giving him confidence, giving him tips, trying to build him back up to the player that he was to start the season.
And the one thing about those games when he was having duds is he really was not shooting the ball much. He really wasn't. And I think we still need about 10 shots from him a game, whether they're falling or not. He's got a really good in between game. He's got a pretty good finishing game. And when he's hot, he could hit shots. So I want to see 10 shots from him a game. And I really feel like, he could be in double digits from here on out.
You can also just tell how he's feeling based on the shots that he's taking. I remember he took two shots against DePaul where he was few feet behind the 3-point line and he just was feeling himself. He just put it up. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But I'd love to see him continue to take those shots just to show that, he feels like he can make it from anywhere and he feels like he's beating his matchup every single game.
In that 10-shot benchmark there, I remember last episode I mentioned he's aggressive Newton is good Newton. I had the stat when he takes at least 10 shots. And that number goes up. This is the 6th game as a Husky that he's taken at least 10 shots. He's averaging 17.6 points per game. And I just did a quick little research to see how many shots he took per game last year at ECU and just scanning through his game logs. There was only 4 games he didn't take at least 10 shots and he averaged 17.7 points per game. So maybe that's his magic number. Taking 10 shots, you're going to get your 17 a night. And that's huge for this team. And we know we have Hawkins and Sonogo to rely on. We really need that third scorer to get us points, and that's been Newton. And speaking of points, I want to mention we had the huge second half against Xavier, 55-90 tonight. That's 145 points in our last 3 halves. This is the team that we saw in November and December. I think it's back, and there's a huge opportunity to keep on building off of that against Georgetown on Saturday. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, this team is starting to take that next step. If not, I think that something clicked and the next step happened.
It's just small steps, one step at a time. I remember we were talking about Xavier after that game, and I mentioned something about how, we lost, but it felt like something, we were playing right the whole time. Sometimes you just lose games like that. Xavier's a good team. We fought all the way back. We fought hard. And, that's just what you want from these guys. You want them to play hard. When you're playing hard, this team, they're going to get points up. They're going to win games. I feel like this little stretch here, DePaul, Georgetown, I feel like this is a great time to, get our confidence back. And then we have Marquette coming in. So I feel like we'll see that against Marquette, maybe get a little revenge, comeback game, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, with all these points for getting recently, Jordan Hawkins is at the front of it. He's scored 52 points in the past 3 halves. And the way he's doing it, which he's done a lot this season, Dave Borges on Twitter tweeted out actually a few hours ago, he's 13 times he's been fouled taking a 3. He did it twice against DePaul. I mean, I've never seen it. He's so good. I don't know if he's sticking out the leg or what he's doing, but it's working. I mean, he's getting in the line. He makes his free throws. I saw they showed, I believe, on the score bug last night, he had been 34 for his last 35 or something on free throws. He proceeded to miss 2 the rest of the game, but That is what it is. But he's really improved and impressed at the free throw line.
Yeah, and he's become way more of a dynamic player than I feel like we saw at the beginning of the season. What we saw at the beginning of the season from Hawkins was a lot of 3-point shots, a lot of comparisons to, Ray Allen from Connor, which I feel like I'll never forget, but I can still see it in my head. The jump shot is so vivid. But yeah, I mean, I see he's working hard now to get to the basket. I remember there was a layup he had, and I don't know who was calling the game, but I don't remember. But he said it reminded him of three letters NBA. And I feel like, the more he gets to the basket, the more that 3-point shot is going to open up. And that is a fact. He's a frail guy. He's little, but he is strong going to the basket. I don't mean he's little and height. He's just a little thin, but he's strong going to the basket. He'll dunk it on you. He'll finesse layup you. He'll beat you in every way. And you need to show the defense that you're going to go to the basket, because when they know you're going to shoot threes, I mean, they're just going to camp out on you the whole time. So the more he goes to the basket, the better that will be for him. The better it'll be for the team.
Yeah, and to speak on what Matt was saying, at the beginning of the season, he was more of just run off screens, catch and shoot. Now we're seeing a lot more coming off the dribble from him, getting downhill, and him just creating his own shot with his dribble. And about him getting fouled on the 3-point shots, I think the way he really does is because he has so much elevation on his jumper. There's just a lot of time to get under his feet, and he's also very good at timing it up. So yeah, that's about both of those things you guys said.
It's also that quick trigger. I feel like whenever he catches it, he's shooting it before he even catches it sometimes. So the defenders have to react quickly. They end up fouling him. And Andre Jackson, we didn't really mention him too much, just 2 points. He had 8 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Not a great game for him, 4 assists too. He also got another technical foul, his third of the season. It's really not that big of a deal. It's at the end of the game, just some chirping. But I mean, he's got to learn. He had the back-to-back technicals earlier, and he's kind of had a streak without him. So hopefully he can start a new streak without him. But that's just some housekeeping stuff. I'm not too worried about that.
I hear a lot of chatter about Andre Jackson going to the league after this season. I don't see that at all. I understand he's an athletic freak of nature. He's ginormous. He runs the point guard. He has this huge frame. He flies around the court up to the basket. He's a great defender, but he's just raw. He is one of the rawest players, I feel like, in college basketball. It seems like he doesn't know what to do with his body. He's a fantastic player, but he needs time and he needs development. I feel like he needs to play the season out, and then over the summer, I think he really just needs to focus on the basic fundamentals, because he does everything else well. He needs just to learn to dribble a little better going into the paint. He needs to learn to attack without having to lose the ball. He needs to be able to get to the rim without, foiling to resistance. And I feel like if he can do that, his point numbers will just naturally go up. If he can get to the basket, go up stronger, if he can keep a better grip on the ball, just shoot all summer, do exactly what Adama did. And I feel like, maybe by the end of next year he'll be ready, but I don't see it right now.
Yeah, he has a very unrefined offensive game, I'd put it. But he's still extremely important to this team. But yeah, Matt, like you were saying, he just is so athletic. It's almost like sometimes he can't control his body and he picks up some wild fouls and he'll turn it over. So definitely he needs some refinement. But like I said, he is just so important to this team, especially defensively. He is our motor. But yeah, I would love to see him make some strides offensively soon here.
And being like that loose with your body, I mean, that's just a young player thing. As you get older, these things tend to go away. You're not moving like this forever, obviously. So, I mean, definitely, he can improve this, and I'm 100% positive he will be in the NBA like one day, whether it's next season or not. But, just the little things. You need to learn to control yourself a little better.
Okay, we'll highlight the rest of the players here. Alex Caravan, just 21 minutes. He was in some foul trouble. 4 points, 4 rebounds, and a career high, 5 assists. So congrats to Alex. I know he's not really a playmaker, but he had 5 assists, a couple of nice finds too. Also, Klingon, 19 minutes, 5 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. Aline, 23 minutes. He was playing a lot, and he hit a three, but he kind of got a little trigger happy. He ended up 2 for 7 from the field. But I like him taking the shots in a game like that. They pretty much have one, so I'm fine with it. And after that, we're going to get into the discussion now about the rotation. You had Sampson 5 minutes, which I honestly didn't think he'd get any after he didn't play at all versus Xavier. You have Hassan Diarra 5 minutes and Joey 3 minutes. I feel like this is the beginning of a new era in this season, and the fact that the rotation is going to change for the first time pretty much. We've had our 9 man all year before Samson came back, and we've really had the 9 man up until now. I feel like it's going to trim down. We saw there was really a 7 man rotation in the second half, the starters plus Klingon and Aline. I feel like I don't think it'll stay 7, but I think it will end up being 8, maybe 9. A 9 as in like Joey for 3 minutes is the ninth or whoever it is. But I just want to hear your guys' take on the rotation going forward.
I love it for Danny. I feel like, there's a lot of talk about him being sort of a one-trick pony, getting recruits in and not necessarily knowing what to do with them, not knowing how to develop them or have them play as a team. I feel like this is really showing that he cares. He cares about his players. He cares about the team. He cares about winning. Obviously we see all the flash, him, getting angry, throwing tantrums on the sideline. You want to win games, but I mean, if you're not willing to make necessary adjustments, then how bad do you really want to win them? I like that he's showing that if you're underperforming, you're going to sit on the bench because there are other guys ready to take your spot, and there are other guys ready to come in and show that they're better than you, and they're going to play those minutes and they're going to be more effective. And I feel like that really opens up a competition aspect to the team. You want your guys competing against themselves. You want your guys getting better, not necessarily, feeling worse, going out there and underperforming. You want them coming in and you want them playing for themselves, playing better for themselves to show that they deserve that spot. Because when everybody's playing good, it's a work of art.
Yeah, and I'm all in favor for cutting down the rotation a little bit because it's really nice having a big rotation running 9 guys, but if there's empty, unproductive minutes, you might as well not. You might as well just keep your 7 or 8 best guys out there. And I think that's what Danny was doing. And there are other guys on the bottom of the bench, like Calcaterra could definitely heat up and have one more big game. Diarra sometimes is playing so well that you want to give him extra minutes, but I'm all in favor for just keeping your most productive guys out there instead of just having a bigger rotation. Way to go, Danny.
Yeah, this is the second straight game that Jordan Hawkins has pretty much played the entire game. He played 38 minutes versus DePaul, played 37 versus Xavier, and he's really picked it up minutes wise in conference play, 37 versus St. John's, a streak of 33s, 4 in a row. So, I mean, Hawkins, he's proven to be one of our best players, and Hurley notices that, and he wants him on the floor as much as possible. Obviously, I'm not saying it's unrealistic for him to play 40 minutes. It'd be nice, but I'm fine with what he played. I didn't even notice he was out. Maybe he was out early in the first half when Joey was in. But I mean, I'm all for playing our best as much as possible.
One thing about Jordan I just want to bring up is that I remember mentioning earlier in the season, Danny can't be on the floor. You need someone to provide energy. You need someone to, pump themselves up, pump the team up. And I've noticed a lot more of that from Jordan Hawkins. Big play happens. He's the first one you see on that replay, flexing, celebrating, getting the guys hyped up. You love to see that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I like losing streaks, but a losing streak is definitely something that'll make you or that'll show you who your true leaders are. Who are the guys stepping up? Who are the guys still bringing the intensity? So, the losing streak, maybe it's been good for character, I'll say.
Yeah, and I like to see them still having fun out there too. They're not they know it's not the end of the world. Caravan, slammed it on someone's head and immediately started laughing, smiling. It's good to see they're still enjoying themselves out there. I feel like that's one of the most important parts.
And we're recapping the DePaul game. I feel like we haven't mentioned anything about DePaul at all, so I'll talk real quick about them. I mean, they're 3-9 in conference. They're not great, but they do have that Xavier win. And Javen Johnson, he scored 10 points in the first 6 minutes. I was worried. I mean, I knew Andre was on him, but he scored 10 points in the first 6 minutes. He didn't take another shot until early second half. I don't know what was up with that, but he was looking like a guy that go for 30 plus. So I'm glad he just stopped shooting. And also, they have Umoja Gibson, who's a 16-point per game scorer. We held them to just 8. And I know they were missing a couple of guys, not saying that'd make a difference. Guys like Philmon Geberwitt, which is a A++ name in the Big East, not even just the Big East in the country. They're also missing Nick Ongenda all season, their starting center. So they're a little injured right now, but still they're a solid team. Like I said, they beat DePaul. I mean, they beat Xavier. They are DePaul. But they're going to give a fight. They have some bruisers like Errol Penn and Deshaun Nelson who had 16. So really, it's a road win's a road win. We haven't won a road game since Butler over a month ago.
Yeah, and they shot pretty well too. They didn't come in and like slouch around. No, they were going to lose. They shot 45% from three, which was much better than us. I'll just put it like that. And I'm glad to see, we came out with the win, even though they were shooting, lights out from behind there.
I think that'll just about do it for the DePaul portion of this. UConn just a dominant win. They slipped a little in the second half, but they recovered another double-digit win. They're 15th, I believe, of the season I saw, which is tied for Alabama for most among Power Six teams. So that's a good sight to see. And recruiting news, just a little bit announced earlier today. Tahad Pettiford, we were in his top 7, some say top 2 between us and Auburn. He chose the Tigers, so no Pettiford. But like I said before we hopped on here, I mean, we beat out Auburn for Stephon Castle, and I'd take Castle over Pettiford any day of the week. So I'm not losing too much sleep over that. And I just wanted to know what you guys think about the rest of the season. I have the schedule here. I'll list it off. At Georgetown, home versus Marquette. At Creighton, home versus Seton Hall. Home versus Providence. At St. John's, at MSG. Home versus DePaul, and at Villanova. So in the last 8 games, what do you guys think our record will be? I think with the way we played over the past 3 halves of basketball, I think they could sneak 6-2, which would make us 23-8 going into the Big East tournament. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'd be happy with 5-3 and just picking up one signature win on the season and definitely beating St. John's. That would make me happy. But if we could get to 5-3 there, pick up a nice little ranked win, there's definitely some tough teams there. So 5-3 would make me happy.
I'm gonna go with 5-3 as well. I think we're gonna beat Providence at home. We have to, it's not even an option anymore. You got to beat Providence at home after all the talk of what happened last year. You got to beat them, especially after the first game. I felt like we had a great chance to beat them, and those games killed our confidence. Now it's time to come in, our home, play it our way with our fans, and I feel like things are going to look a lot different. The St. John's game, real wild card, because the first time we played, that was not even close to our best effort. I know we are better than St. John's. If we could beat St. John's, that would be my 6th win. So I feel like, we should get 5 wins at the least. If we can go and beat St. John's, finish 6-2, that would be great because we need to build up our confidence going into March. Also Nova. We didn't have the most difficult time with Nova last time, but we were at home. We were at the XL Center, which hasn't been much of a home court advantage this season anyways. So, maybe we go into Nova, we sneak a win there too, get 7.
And one thing is that there's a lot of revenge games coming up here. This is just going to be a really good gauge for how far this team's overcome, for how far they've grown. So that's what I'm excited for here. We can really see what they're working with and how much they've overcome going into March with these last couple games here.
Yeah, I said 6-2. I'll just choose my losses. I don't think they're going to win at Creighton. The top 4 in the Big East, Creighton, Marquette, Xavier, and Providence. They're all undefeated at home in conference play, so it's very tough to play in all those environments. And I'm between either at Villanova because they have Justin Moore back. I don't know if you guys saw, but he's back. He played 31 minutes. He's healthy. And I'm between that game and the Seton Hall or Providence at home. I just feel like we saw St. John's pick this off at home, so it could easily happen. And I think both those teams are better than St. John's.
Yeah, and in the Big East, man, you never know. We saw DePaul go into Xavier and beat him, or Xavier come into DePaul, beat him there. DePaul beat Xavier. You never know. We could sneak one out at St. John's, maybe at Nova, and we got to win the home games. That's the big thing.
All right, and now I think we'll quickly just choose some players to watch for the game versus Georgetown and UConn. As we all remember, the Joey Calcaterra game last time beat the Hoyas at home, so it's a rematch in DC. So I'll start with my player to watch for that one. I mean, I'll choose Joey. I mean, he was pretty much out of the rotation versus DePaul. I'm not saying he's going to get back in. He's going to play he played like 20 something minutes against Georgetown last time. That's not going to happen. But I'm curious to see where the rotation goes and if he's a part of it. And I think if he plays, he's obviously succeeded against these guys before. So I don't see it changing. I think he's going to have a great game if he suits up and gets proper minutes.
Yeah, and I just want to see what Andre Jackson does because he hasn't been playing his best basketball lately. And specifically, what I'm looking for with him is cutting his fouls down and not scoring a lot of points offensively, but just being efficient and effective offensively. Not really turning it over, making the right play. That's just what I want to see from him. And definitely the fouls need to come down.
I'm gonna go in more of a matchup direction here. I'm gonna go with Adama because if you remember last time, Cudis kind of had his way with him. He had 19, what was it, like 16 and 9 points. Adama had 14 and 7. So Cudis won that matchup out here that game. Even though we won the game, Cudis kind of had his way with Adama. I want to see Adama come out here and show he's better than Cudis and beat up on him, and hopefully we get a big win.
And also for the Hoyas, I'm just, I guess, being a fan here, but Primo Spears, I love his game. He's averaging 17 points per game. He's the type of guard that can just get you a bucket whenever you want. I enjoy seeing him play. Obviously, I root for him, but I obviously hope he doesn't have his best game against UConn. But every time I've tuned into Georgetown, which is actually more than I've realized, I've probably watched him a handful of times this year. He's always going off. You can give him the ball, he'll put it in the hoop. He's a mid-range demon. It's just I like watching Primo Spears, so he's probably going to have a good game. He did decent against us last time of the team in scoring, so we don't have to choose Georgetown players to watch for this one, but if we did, he'd be mine.
Yeah, and I also love his game. Windsor, Connecticut, hometown hero. Saw a lot of him in high school. And I know I said it last time we played them, but he gave me 55 points in football in high school, and he had like 2, 3 touchdowns that game. So he's a real good athlete.
And I'm gonna do the honorary a cook mention for Andrew here. It's always fun to go back, play him, see the guys all get together again. So, just thought I'd shout that out really quick.
All right, and I think that'll just about do it here for episode 23 of How About Them Huskies. Recap the DePaul game. We broke down the schedule a little bit, how we think we'll fare the rest of the year, and gave some players to watch for Georgetown. And that game versus Georgetown, I mean, I'm not saying UConn will lose, but I wouldn't just look over it until next time. I mean, you can lose any game in this conference, and Georgetown has a win. But I think that'll just about do it, like I said. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for a future episode in between the Georgetown and Marquette game.